It's time for this week's episode of Brandon's Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Scarlet Hearts head women's ice hockey coach, Thomas OMalley. How are you doing today?
Great, Brandon. It's nice to be with you.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start coaching in college ice hockey?
Well, Brandon, it all started back with a flyer located on the wall of the Roberts Center at Boston College. Okay, and I was a student at the time. I was playing on the junior varsity hockey team at BC. I was driving the Zamboni. I was running the scoreboard. I was doing everything in the arena. You know what I'm saying? Plus, naturally going to class. And there was an advertisement that said, "Coach the girls hockey team." It didn't even say women's. It said girls. So I went and asked the athletic director at the time, Mr. William Flynn, if I could do it. It was sort of a work study job. And, he said, absolutely. He gave me the job. He goes, I just want you to check with Coach Zaglarski that it doesn't take away from your practice time, with the men's hockey team. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it all started. And, it was quite a long time ago. And here I am right now.
What was that like, obviously, playing for Boston College men's ice hockey?
Yeah, you know what? Like I mentioned a few moments ago, Brandon, I was a local kid, city of Boston kid, originally from Dorchester when I was a little guy, and then we moved over to another area called Brighton, which is within the city of Boston, and it's in the shadows of Boston College. Okay, and it was sort of my playground as a kid. You know what I mean? I was the ring rat in the McHugh Forum. I played football out in the stadium. You know what I mean? All of those good things. And then later on in life, when I got into college there, I was able to, join the hockey team. And like I mentioned, my role was my coach Zaglarski used to call it sub-varsity. So I was on the sub-varsity. I was one of those guys that played in all the, the sub-varsity games, and, got a chance to practice with the varsity, much of the time as well, too. So, like, for me, it was a great, great honor, because ever since I was a little kid, that was my place. That was the place I wanted to go to school. That was the place I wanted to be. And I was able to, to be involved. And I'm very happy for that opportunity.
Of course, being a hometown kid of the Boston area, what was that like, obviously, getting to put on the Boston College jersey and representing your hometown?
Yeah, it was, picture day was one of the greatest days. You know what I mean? Just putting that uniform on, like, you have Boston Bruins, Boston Celtics, Boston Red Sox, Boston, they used to be the Boston Patriots. Now it's the New England Patriots. But, yeah. I mean, it's the next best thing to be in there. Boston College, yeah, it was just such an honor to be involved. You know what I mean? And to this day, that's how I feel. You know what I mean? And I was able to enjoy that experience, and as a result of that, I have friends for life. You know what I'm saying? I just saw a lot of guys from the teams a few weeks ago, and it's like we pick up like we saw each other the day before, so.
What was that like, obviously, getting to play in your hometown of Boston and having your family there?
Yeah, it was a great experience. Just people being at the games. We played out of an arena called McHugh Forum, and it was happy to play in front of family, happy to play in front of friends. I will say a lot of our sub-varsity games were maybe in the afternoon. So God bless him. My father was usually at work. Okay. So he didn't really get a chance to see a lot of those games. He was a bricklayer. Okay. And, but no, when he was there, really happy and proud to be out there in front of them. So.
Of course, after your college time playing, what was that like getting into college coaching and coaching at your alma mater?
Yeah. As I mentioned a few moments ago, I was actually doing both at the same time, and it was just like a seamless transition. Once I had stepped off the ice in a player role, I was still on the ice in a coaching role, and like I said, it was seamless. It was a great experience. It was an honor, and I had a lot of role models, both coaches and players that I tried to emulate and follow, and it was easy to continue down that path.
How was that like, obviously, during your playing time, balancing being a player and also being a coach for the women's team?
Yeah, well, it was pretty easy in terms of practicing at different times. Usually at that time, the women's team practiced sort of late at night, maybe 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We'd go for an hour or two. So, that part of the evening was usually free. Aside from being on the ice for practice myself, naturally I had my homework to take care of, which I used to do usually in the back room, the Zamboni office. Okay, since I was at the rink at that time, but I was able to accomplish all of it. So,
What was that like after your playing career, getting into being a full-time head coach for your alma mater?
yeah, well, I think in total I was there at Boston College for 14 seasons as a coach. Okay, and the whole time there, it was never a full-time job, Brandon. It was a part-time job, but I attacked it as a full-time job, and very organized with it, and I wanted to run the program the same as Coach Zaglarski ran the men's program, in terms of like just everything that goes along with it, the practice, the travel, the equipment, all of that. So, I just went at it full speed, and, we got better and better every year. Culminating at first it was actually a club team, which was, organized, but I further organized it. I ran it as a pseudo varsity, so to speak. And we got to the point where we were national club champions back in 92 and 93. We won it 2 years in a row. And then we moved to varsity status shortly thereafter. And it was almost like starting all over again, especially in our second year of Division I varsity. The first year we had those kids that had played on some of those championship teams still there, and made it a lot easier. But no, it was great experience, and I'm sure you're going to talk about this, but I had the opportunity to go out to Detroit to start the Wayne State women's program, and that was a full-time job, and here I am all those years later. So,
What was that like, obviously, building the Boston College program into a powerhouse that it is now?
yeah, it was determination, it was passion. Like I mentioned, I had a lot of role models, that I tried to model my program after. Men's coach Len Zaglarski, Steve Cedachuk, to name a couple. And it's just taken some of their knowledge and ways of doing things. I applied that to the women's program, and it steadily got better and better. And you can see where they are today, all these years later.
What was that feeling like when you went to Wayne State to obviously build that program?
Yeah. First of all, it was tough for me to leave BC. You know, I I'm an alum. You know, I was a student athlete, and plus all my family and friends were there. Like to this day, there's still a lot of people that still work at BC that I still keep in touch with. But no, I mean, I went out to Detroit, about 850 miles away. Had only been to Detroit once in my life. It was an awakening in terms of like just being away from home. I'd never been that far away from home. I mean, I was in my 30s. Just, you know, it was just starting all over again. But again, I took what I had been doing previously and applied that to my new team and, you know, steadily built that from scratch. I got there in June of 99. We had to have a team on the ice in September of 99. So it was a lot of work over that summer.
Of course, during your time at Wayne's, what did you accomplish?
Yeah, I can tell you that we got better every year. The first year it was just, you know, trying to find players just to get on to put out on the ice. And I was fortunate enough to find some very good people, very good players to start things off. But then, you know, the recruiting started to take hold. It was the only Division I women's program in the state of Michigan. And Michigan is a hockey state. You know, you got the Red Wings there, you got the University of Michigan, you got Michigan State to name a few. And hockey is sacred there. And, you know, being the only women's Division I team, there was a big following, you know, so we're able to recruit some great players and you know, get better every year.
How did it feel to obviously come to Sacred Hearts to build that team again and obviously create that team?
Yeah, so I was fortunate in the summer of 2003. I had an opportunity to talk with Mr. Don Cook, who was the athletic director at the time, and he gave me an opportunity to take the head coaching position of, you know, Sacred Heart University women's team, who had just moved from Division III to Division I. The whole athletic program had elevated all of their sports from Division II, so to speak. It was Division II to Division I. But, you know, with the women's team, again, just like I had done at BC and done at Wayne State, you know, organizational skills took over, the way to run things took over. And, you know, that was my approach. I was fortunate to have some very good players already in place here. And, you know, we progressed through the first year and steadily got better and better. We had some ups and downs over the years, you know, some roller coaster, you know, hills, both going up, coming down. But, you know, over these last, you know, 6-7 years, it's been pretty steady where we've had a lot of success.
How was that like obviously transitioning from D2 to making it into a Division I school?
Okay, so the women's team used to be, even though the school was Division II, they played in the Division III ECAC league, okay? And, you know, like I had mentioned, there were already some really student athlete hockey players on that team, and they made it easy to transfer up to Division I. You know what I mean? Just their work ethic and how they all approached the game and played the game made it easy. You know what I mean? We had some you know, hills to climb that first year. If I remember correctly, all the equipment hadn't arrived in time. I think actually we wore our away red jerseys for every game just because our home white jerseys, the manufacturer hadn't shipped them in time for our season. I think we got them like right at the end of the season. But in any case, it was a good year, and we had a lot of fun. and, won some hockey games. Unfortunately, lost a few hockey games, but, enjoyed the experience.
What are some of your accomplishments so far as the head coach for Sacred Heart?
Well, let's see. We won the ECAC Open Tournament back in, I think it was 2005. And that was a great experience. We actually, the site of the tournament was at Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts, and we had beat our arch nemesis, St. Anselm College, in that game. So that was really the first trophy that we were able to bring to the program, to win that early in my tenure here at Hart. And then, we've won a lot of, big games over the years. Where we beat University of Maine one year, which was a shocker to the women's hockey world, because Maine, being a Hockey East team, one of those high caliber teams, we were able to win there and steal one from them. We've had some other wins. Union College, we've beaten them, but lately, over these last years, with us playing in the NUHA, the New England Women's Hockey Alliance, we've had a lot of success. We actually won the tournament, the initial NUHA championship tournament that first year in 2018. And that was a great accomplishment for the school and for the program. We've since won the regular season championship. We went 18-2 in the league. We bowed out in the semifinals. But look, we've had some very good years, some very good accomplishments. We've had some great people associated with them. I will tell you this, not only on the ice, in the classroom. This current team that just, we're finishing up this year right now, the semester, but last grading period at Christmas time, the overall team GPA was a 3.89. That's the overall. We have some unbelievable student athletes here that get it done in the classroom, on the ice, and in the community.
What's that like, obviously, getting to play teams like Maine and Holy Cross?
Yeah, you're going to be up against some really good competition, Maine, a formidable opponent, and the team, is excited to play those types of teams. They want to play up and play against, that caliber team and win those games. Holy Cross, they had been an arch rival as well too, and we had beaten them from time to time over the years, but going back to that 2017-2018 season, we had played them a total of 5 times, and we beat them 3 times. They tied us, and we lost to them. I think we lost the first game and beat them the second game. They tied the third game. We won the fourth game. So we sort of climbed up on top of them, which was a great feeling in itself as well.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for Sacred Heart for the women's program? Yeah.
I'm sure you said you Maddie Bishop weeks ago too. Maddie can attest to this, but yeah, the team culture, it's a team, it's a family, it's a family and it's a team. We players to come to school here, to play hockey, but we really, first and foremost recruit players to bring them here to get their degrees, to study hard, to earn their degrees. Yeah. And then also play hockey, and then also be visible in the community. So that all comes back to just, recruiting good people, good citizens, good students, and that all contributes to our team family culture, which is great. There's been a huge emphasis on the whole culture thing, especially over these last few years. But our culture goes back even way before. had a lot of really good people come through our program. People that I still talk to today, you know what I'm saying? Like, going back to 2003, I see Becky Jellinis, who was my first captain here. I see her occasionally. It's like she just stepped off the ice yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So, and she was part of helping to instill that culture as well.
What does a typical game day look like for the Sacred Heart women's ice hockey program?
Okay, so like a home game, say for instance, we're playing on a Friday. We either play 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock. We usually like to, everyone's getting up. If they have a class in the morning, they're going to class. They're getting their good breakfast in. But we really have a pregame skate, in the morning, early afternoon, and that's just getting everyone on the ice and getting themselves in the zone mentally and physically, ready to play that big game that night, that big opponent that night or that afternoon. Usually the team, say for instance, we're playing at 7 o'clock, the team, players, are usually here at the very latest 2 hours prior to a game. In many cases, they're coming in the door 2 hours and 45 minutes prior to the game, just because they're psyched up, they're ready to go, can't wait to put their skates on, get out there, take warm-ups, and then for the face-off to begin. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of energy, a lot of vibrancy, a lot of mental focus, and then putting it all together, hopefully coming out with a win that night.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play college women's ice hockey?
Yeah, so with the NCAA, there's different steps. Okay, so like say for instance, and you see a lot of it now, where potential recruits, maybe they're in their freshman year of high school, sophomore year in high school. Per the NCAA, we cannot have any conversations with those prospective student athletes at that time. If they send me an email, I can thank them for their email and send them a questionnaire and give them a link to the admissions office. That's that type of thing. But once players start moving up into junior year, June 15th is the date that we can start, communicating with potential players and giving them information and showing them what we have to offer here, and then actually going out and seeing them play in person, and then taking it from there. We so to speak, rule players in that we want to continue to recruit, and unfortunately, we have to rule players out that we would potentially have a spot for them, so to speak. So yeah, it's a long process. It begins way in advance, and you get to know people, get to know their families, you get to know what they're about, what type of students they are. First of all, like, you could have the greatest hockey player, football player, basketball player in the world, but if they don't have the grades to go along with it, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to be admitted to, each respective school or get through the NCAA eligibility center. So there's a lot that goes into it, besides just picking up the phone saying, hey, we want you to come. So there's a lot of other detail involved in it. So.
Of course, as head coach, what are some of the things that you look at in these recruits when going out to see them?
Okay. Yeah, the whole thing with character, naturally looking at their making ability, their skating, their passing, their shooting, their whole hockey IQ, so to speak. But we're also looking at what type of team player they are, what type of character player they are. Are they out in the ice just getting the job done, working hard, taking their shifts, plays, contributing, or are they, banging their stick off the glass, just not being a good representative of their team. Like we're looking for all that type of thing because that factors into, what we want here, in the character, good citizenship role. Like, you want people that are going to naturally be good hockey players, good students. You want people that are going to carry themselves well and represent the team well. So that's something we begin the process with early, just to see what people are about. Are they screaming and yelling at their teammates, not being a good teammate? We take that into account. I'm not really very proficient with social media. I'm a little older than a lot of people, but how do I say that? A little older than some of the other coaches or naturally the players. But so I asked my assistant coaches to also look at the social media just to see what people are about on their social media pages. You know what I mean? How they're carrying themselves on their social media. That factors into, the good character type of person we want here as well.
Of course, on the official visit, what does the official visit look like for those prospective student athletes going to Sacred Heart?
Yeah, so normally, when we have official visits now that we're post-COVID and we can start getting into that again, say for instance, someone's coming in by the NCAA rules, you only have 8 hours. All right, so we're playing on a Friday and a Saturday. We usually try to bring our official visits in when we're playing 2 games at home. So normally they'll arrive, say for instance on a Thursday evening, and they'll stay in the dormitories with some of the players. We have some players in host roles. They'll host an official, they'll host a potential student athlete, and they'll get to experience what it's like to live in the dormitory here. Have meal passes for them to go and eat in the dining halls with the players. So they're experiencing the food. And here at Sacred Heart, I can just think right off the bat, 1, 2, 3, 4 different dining halls. And I think there's actually a couple more. I haven't been in some of the newer dormitories, but, there's a lot of different types of food to experience, which they'll get a feel for when they're here on their official visit. So say, for instance, they come in on Thursday. So Friday morning, they get the breakfast in the dining hall. Maybe they go to a class and sit in on a class and see what it's like, what their interests are. You know what I mean? Say, for instance, they're interested in becoming a teacher. They can go sit in on a class and see what that's all about, okay? Or any other type of class. And just get a sense of, the student teacher ratio, you know what I mean? Which is very good. We're not huge lecture halls. You know what I mean? The classes are a lot smaller. And then they'll come down and sit in the stands and watch the pregame skate. They'll be in the locker room, get to know the players. I'm saying that, and especially the host that they're staying with is going to show them around and introduce them to the rest of the team. Potential future teammates. So to after the pregame skate, they're going back to campus, probably having another meal, maybe taking a tour of the campus, walking around. Sometimes, we'll set up a meeting with admissions. You can go in and sit with the counselor and talk with that person about, their potential of gaining admittance to Sacred Heart. And then back, later that late afternoon for, our arrival for our game that night. You know what I'm saying? They sit in the stands, watch the game. They come down the locker room between periods. Hopefully we're winning. Things are good. A lot of energy, and then back to the dorms after that. You know what I'm saying? Saturday's pretty much the same, although there wouldn't be any classes. Maybe just some downtime, some relaxation time. And then back in the afternoon we usually play Saturdays at like 2:30. So they'd be back at the rink, 11:15, 12 o'clock, that type of thing. We're coming back early with some of the players. So
What's it like, obviously, seeing those recruits get to try on the Sacred Heart red jersey and fall in love with the school?
Yeah, well, you know, the potential student athlete recruit that we're able to offer the spot to, naturally that, getting that news and getting that information and going through the process of getting their equipment sizes in and, articles of clothing and equipment and skates and sticks and all that. That's part of the process. But then, put the first day they actually step on the ice and put on the practice jersey is a huge day for them, and then a week or two later when we're playing our first game, putting on the official game jersey is another big day for them. There's a lot of excitement to it. I can see it in their eyes. It's just a great experience for them, and a lot of them talk about it to this day. So,
what's it like as a head coach to see obviously your teammates obviously go on to the NWHL level, such as how Maggie did?
Yeah, so very, very proud of their accomplishments. All of them, whether they've gone on to play professionally or gone on to become a nurse, or we have four players on our team currently. They're going on to study medicine and become doctors. But so whatever route they decide to take. But as you mentioned, the professional route. Yeah, very happy for them that they're able to go and take their game, to the professional level. Very proud of them. I mean, there's one time we had 7 or 8 players, playing professionally. There's still a few of them playing over in Europe right now. Amy Verano, who graduated in 2017, she was our captain. She's been playing over in Europe since then. That next fall, and she's played for a few different teams, but most notably, she played for the Italian national team that was competing to get into the Olympic pool. Unfortunately, they fell short on it, but, very, very proud of Amy, very proud of, some of the other girls on over to play in Hungary, Sweden, Finland. Yeah, just all their pictures are hanging up in the locker room. It's a great feat for them, and like I said, very proud of them. And whenever I talk, I'm always looking to hear how things are going for them. What's the difference in the game, so to speak, and some of their accomplishments at the professional level as well. I know Olivia Bryant and Haley Payne have played on a championship team, I think last year in Finland. And Amy Verano did as well when she was playing in, I think she was in Hungary at the time. One of the major tournaments that they participated in. She won that as well. So her and her team.
What advice would you give those high school athletes looking to play college ice hockey?
Okay, the biggest thing is school. Okay, let no one kid you with that. Like I mentioned a little while ago. You can be the best player in the world, the best, basketball, football, baseball player, tennis player. If you don't have the goal to go along with it, you're really going to get that far, especially if you want to play at, an elite one team, an elite school. So school is number one. Naturally, the person that you are, the character. Those are some of the things that, I talk with potential, recruits, high school age recruits about. Like, we're looking for, the hockey player ability, but we're also looking for the personality in the student as well. So that's hands down the most important advice. You know what I mean? Character, student, hockey player. I tell my players that, academics are number one, hockey 1A as a student athlete. You know what I mean? So you're going to need, you don't start those habits once you get into college. You need to have those habits way before college. So,
what advice would you give those college hockey players looking to play professionally, whether it's the PHF or the PWHPA or going internationally and playing?
Yeah, well, players' abilities are going to speak for themselves. Stats go along with that. So, so to speak, a general manager at the Connecticut Whale is watching, particular players on our team and tracking them and seeing how they're doing and, potentially drafting them or offering them, a tryout contract. But that same thing is happening over in Europe. They're looking at film. They're inquiring about players and reaching out. And, it's up to, first of all, the young lady graduating out. Does she want to pursue this for a year or 2 or 5 years, so to speak, with Amy Verano? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you need to help market yourself as well, too. Like you're contacting, if you haven't been already contacted by a GM or a coach, personal level, you're contacting them yourself. You're marketing yourself just like, you would market yourself and contact coach, in the recruiting process for college as well. So, yeah.
What advice would you give future college coaches looking to become head coaches on the women's ice hockey level?
Yeah, just, you get in with the good head coach and absorb knowledge, absorb, the ways, how things are done, how things are run. You might not take everything with you that, the coach that you work with at that time or the next head coach that you work for down the road, but you're compiling information, you're compiling good habits, you're compiling, organizational skills, passion, and, that's going to help propel you, up through the year, and then hopefully, sitting at the helm of a team yourself at some point.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with Sacred Heart's women's ice hockey program at?
Okay. Well, you know what? We have social media at Sacred Heart. It's a Twitter account. You can, find me occasionally on that. Usually it's someone putting something out there from athletic communication. I've never tweeted. How's that? Okay, that's probably a rarity in today's world. I'm sort of old school in that respect, but there's plenty of information on our web pages, on our school social media page about our hockey program. If you log on to our school website, there's contact information. If someone wanted to contact me through email or phone, I'm available with that as well, too.
Thank you again, Coach Thomas OMalley, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Sacred Hearts women's ice hockey program.
Well, thank you, Brandon. It's a pleasure to be with you here today.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Thomas OMalley, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you, Brandon. Great job today.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.